Hello, little dreamers! Before we begin our magical journey together, please ask your grown-ups to tap that sparkly subscribe button for Siyona stories. It helps us share more enchanting tales with children just like you, all around the world. Once upon a time, in a cottage where sunbeams danced through painted windows, there lived a little girl whose heart was as bright as the crimson cloak her grandmother had sewn with threads of love and magic. This wasn't just any ordinary cloak, it was woven with wishes and stitched with protection, making her feel as brave as the night whenever she wore it. Beyond their village stretched the whispering woods, where ancient trees reached toward each other in embraces that had lasted for hundreds of years. Deep in these magical woods lived the little girl's beloved grandmother, in a cottage surrounded by wildflower meadows that sang with bee songs. One morning, when autumn painted the world in gold and crimson, the little girl's mama called her to the kitchen. "My sweetheart," she said, "your dear grandmother has the sniffles. Would you take her this basket of healing soup and honey cakes?" The little girl's eyes sparkled with excitement. Her mama wrapped her in the magical crimson cloak and gave gentle but important advice. "Stay on the cobblestone path through the forest. The path knows the way and will keep you safe. If you meet anyone in the woods, be polite, but remember what I've taught you about strangers." The cobblestone path wound between trees whose trunks were so wide that 10 children holding hands couldn't reach around them. Wildflowers grew along the edges, purple violets that waved hello, white daisies like scattered stars, and yellow buttercups that glowed like tiny suns. But as the little girl walked deeper into the woods, she didn't notice the shadow following her. A cunning wolf had been watching the path, and when he saw her, his yellow eyes gleamed with selfish plans. "Good morning, little one," said the wolf, stepping onto the path. His voice was smooth as silk, but something made her crimson cloak feel more protective around her shoulders. "What a lovely basket you're carrying. Where might you be going?" "I'm taking healing soup to my grandmother," she replied politely but cautiously. The wolf's eyes gleamed. "How thoughtful! But wouldn't your grandmother be happier if you brought beautiful wildflowers too? Look how they sparkle with morning dew." The flowers were indeed beautiful, glowing with their own inner light. Though she remembered her mama's words about staying on the path, the suggestion seemed reasonable. "Perhaps just a few," she said, stepping off the safe stones. As soon as she began picking flowers, the wolf ran through the forest by secret paths only wild creatures knew, racing toward the cottage with a wildflower garden. When he arrived, he knocked and disguised his voice. "Grandmother, it's me. I've brought soup and honey cakes." "I'm too weak to get up," called the kind grandmother. "Just lift the latch and come in." But the grandmother was much cleverer than the wolf expected. When she saw him in her doorway, quick as lightning she rose from bed and hid in her large wardrobe behind winter coats, pulling the door shut just as the wolf lunged forward. Frustrated, the wolf put on the grandmother's nightgown and sleeping cap and waited in the bed. Meanwhile, the little girl had wandered far from the path following the prettiest blooms. When shadows grew longer, she realized she was lost. But her crimson cloak whispered courage into her heart, and she remembered her grandmother's stories about being brave. Finally, she found the familiar cottage glowing with warm lamplight. "Grandmother, it's me," she called, knocking gently. "Come in, my dear," came a voice that sounded like her grandmother, but different, somehow strained and growly. As she approached the dim bed, her instincts told her something was wrong. "Grandmother," she said slowly, "what big eyes you have, all the better to see you with. My dear, what big ears you have, all the better to hear you with." Her heart racing, she took another step. "What big teeth you have, all the better to eat you with," growled the wolf, throwing off his disguise and leaping from the bed. But the clever little girl was ready. She threw her basket's contents at him. Hot soup splashed his face. Honey cakes scattered everywhere, and sticky wildflower honey covered his paws, making them too slippery to grab anything. While the wolf yelped and stumbled, she ran to the wardrobe. "Grandmother, I'm here, my brave child," came the voice from behind the coats. Together, they slipped through a secret back door to the root cellar, then through a tunnel that led to the village baker's shop. Soon the whole village came running with pots and pans, making such noise that the wolf decided to find a different forest far away. That evening, grandmother and granddaughter made fresh healing soup and honey cakes, sharing stories by the fireplace. The grandmother's sniffles disappeared entirely. "My brave little heart," said the grandmother, "you listened to your instincts and showed courage when it mattered most. Your crimson cloak didn't make you brave, the bravery was inside you all along. And next time," said the little girl, "I'll remember to stay on the path. The path keeps us safe," agreed her grandmother. "But even when we wander, our love and inner wisdom can guide us home." From that day forward, whenever the little girl wore her crimson cloak, she remembered not just its protection, but the courage she had found within herself. Remember, little dreamers, that inside each of you lives the same kind of courage. Trust the safe paths that loving grown-ups show you. Listen to your instincts when something doesn't feel right, and know that cleverness and kindness will always triumph over tricks and meanness. Thank you for joining us on this magical journey through the Whispering Woods. Don't forget to watch more enchanting bedtime stories in our Siyona Stories playlist. where every tale is filled with wonder, wisdom, and the kind of magic that helps little hearts grow brave and strong. Sweet dreams, dear ones, and may your dreams be filled with crimson cloaks and endless courage.